one nation cannot have it all. So there's always a need for you to strike deals with other nations. When we're discussing why Ghana is weak, some people were saying we are giving away too much, right? But the point is, if you want to look inward, what can you do for your own self? You can decide, okay, this is my room. I want to lock the room because I don't want to be seeing the faces of my neighbors. Their faces are ugly or their conduct is bad. I don't want to see them. But before you lock your door for a week without coming out, the questions are, do you have a place of convenience in there? Your kids can't go out to school. Have you moved their teacher into that space to be teaching them? Do you have enough stock of food and water for that period? So Ghana can say, okay, the world is ours. Don't come to Obuasi again. But the point is, there are other things we need from the big nations, which when they deny us, we can't survive. So sometimes I know how passionate people are. We heap all the blame on leadership. Our leaders are not good enough. The white folks are taking too much. But the point is, if you don't let the white folks have their way, what are we able to do on our own for ourselves? Yes, and oil is useless fluid. If you don't have the technology to drill and refine it, it will be completely useless. I'm sure our great-grandfathers, before the advent of modernity, if you brought them crude oil, they would say this is not important. It would have been better to bring them tea and milk rather than that. Even gold, I'm sure at some point people didn't know the preciousness of gold. Yes. So you see how you are placed in the world. That is why up to now, if you have noticed, all because of foreign policy advantage on the level of geography, some big nations still want to add up certain nations to themselves. They always want to add up. We call it annexation.
But all these small islands that British still control, the British islands, they still have some of these small islands because of the resources.
Geography is important in foreign policy. So anytime there is a war, God forbid, if any day Ghana goes to war with Togo, you don't want the lines, the buffer lines to be as they were, the demilitarized lines to be as they were before the war. You want to inch a bit deeper. Iran and Iraq fought. Iran and Iraq fought from 1980 to 1988. They were both exhausted. They had spent so much. It was Saddam who invaded Iran. At some point, there was no winner in the fight, and Iran came with a counterpunch, and they started fighting on Iraqi soil. Long and short of it, the war ended. And what did Iraq do? They needed money. So they looked around, and they realized that there's this tiny oil-rich country called Kuwait. So what did Saddam do? He invaded Kuwait and said Kuwait is only a province, a region that should be part of Iraq. So geography is important. And the more land you have, the more access to the sea you have, the greater your bargaining power when it comes to foreign policy. Please, are we on the same page?